Hello out there, welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast. Successful recruiting for the Army is essential to maintain a strong fighting force. And it's tough to attract new talent if most people don't know much about you. That's why marketing is so important for the Army. Today we'll be talking with two key members of the Army Enterprise Marketing Office to find out what they're doing to keep the Army in the minds of the American people and what they have planned for the future. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Your Next Mission video podcast, where we tell the stories of those who have served in the past and those who are serving today. From transition to financial wellness, VA benefits to mental health, we cover issues facing veterans, active military, and their families. Now here's your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army and co-founder of the American Freedom Foundation, Jack L. Tilley.
Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all of our veterans and service members and families for your service to our great country. Now, before we get started, I personally want to thank our presenting sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, whose members are the mission, and Purdue Global, where you can start your comeback, with additional sponsorship from Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental and Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision and USAA. Together, they make your next mission happen. They love our veterans and families. I say this every week. We love them too. Our guests today are Lieutenant Colonel Andy Andersen, Chief of Brand and Product Strategy, and CSM, Faith Alexander, Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. And Sir, Sergeant Major, man, you got me pumped up already. I'm just getting ready to talk. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Sergeant Major, for having us again. I think this is our third time.
At least. Well, you know the rule here. Before we get started, we're going to ask each one of you to tell us a little bit about yourself. And sir, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Sergeant Major. So I joined the Army in 2005 and originally commissioned as an armor officer, deployed to Iraq, did all the jobs, and eventually became an intelligence officer. And while I was promotable to Lieutenant Colonel, I saw that message come out inviting officers to potentially be part of a new career field called the Marketing and Behavioral Economics career field, or FA58. So I was really intrigued by that, and I joined in 2021. So I've been at AEMO since. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Audra, 4 rambunctious, beautiful children. And we live in the suburbs of Chicago in a town called Beacon.
Well, I knew I liked you as soon as I seen you because you're an armor officer and I'm an armor guy. So yay, right. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, love those sabos.
Sergeant Major, go ahead.
Well, Sergeant Major, you know me, but I came into the Army in I will not say that date. I came in, of course, as a geospatial engineer, have been through every kind of stage of being a command sergeant major at this point. I arrived at the Army Enterprise Marketing Office in 22. So this is my 27th month in position. And I still love what I do. So I'm still here.
You know, you sort of got quiet about when you came in the Army. If I told you, if I told you when I came in the Army, we'd all go to sleep. We probably. Hey, sir, last time we talked, which was, on our prep call, you were launching a new, updated version of Be All You Can Be. I guess the question I have for you is it done what you hoped it would do?
Oh my goodness, yes, and in spades. I mean, what an amazing time to be a brand new marketing officer for the United States Army and be able to be part of the team that launched Be All You Can Be. What a fun and exciting project. And we sought to do a number of things, and we absolutely accomplished those. So just to rattle off a few, number one, we refreshed the STAR and the entire marketing ecosystem to appeal to a new generation of prospects, as well as the general market. So all of our supporters across the Army Enterprise, veterans, just the entire American public. And it was welcomed, just overwhelmingly supportive. Number two, we refreshed the brand platform. So this allowed us to capitalize on all that momentum of refreshing the brand and reintroducing Be All You Can Be to the American public. We went right into launching the First Steps campaign, which we launched in August of 23, and then of course followed up again in August of 24. And those ads specifically speak to Generation Z, our target prospect audience, in a very up close and personal way. And then number three is, we really wanted our media plans to be very interconnected with not only our national level effects, but also our regional level effects. So we created a very robust, audacious, bold media plan, and we've done that for the last few years to effectively and efficiently deliver those messages across all of the channels, such as streaming, TV, social, email, even at local events where we can provide opportunities for recruiters to engage not only with the brand and knowing their Army, but also getting them to have those meaningful conversations with recruiters to eventually get into the Army. And then just lastly, if we're talking about some of the key performance indicators or the metrics of what we were trying to achieve, we surpassed all our goals in FY23 and 24. We generated billions of impressions. We achieved high awareness among the American public, from starting out kind of in the low 60% to eventually getting to a high of 76% for awareness. And we drew in 27.2 million visits to GoArmy.com just last year for FY24. Wow. We generated 755,000 leads to the recruiting force. And again, too, just to the sophistication of our Army marketing enterprise and what we've built here, about 6 of 10 contracts are marketing. Well, let me rephrase that. About six out of every 10 contracts we can directly tie to our marketing activities that we positively touch them. So just an incredible success story for Be All You Can Be.
Well, I'm going to give you a little more Be All You Can Be. I came in the Army, and when I came in, they said, "We want you." That was so many years ago.
Right.
But I love Be All You Can Be. The other thing I'll tell you is that 27 million, you can connect us, put us on there. They can be your next mission followers. We'd love to have those guys on there too, that's for sure. Hey, great information. But you know something, when I talk about Be All You Can Be, people are pumped up about that, and they really like that slogan. So bless your heart. I'm glad you guys came back with what a change in a lot of people's lives, that's for sure. Hey, I guess no matter what analytics say about the number of impressions and social media and TV ratings, the bottom line for success is the Army marketing is always getting new recruits, right? I mean, Sergeant Major, we're always getting new recruits with that information?
Yes, Sergeant Major. So AEMO's role is to attract quality talent. That's why we're here, to eventually get that prospect to be funneled to the Go Army site, which Colonel Andersen just mentioned, which is our storefront. So if you think of a storefront in the 90s, when I came in, and that last 2 digits of the 90s will remain nameless, the storefront of the Army was kind of the recruiting station. Well, that's not necessarily the case anymore. So we want to attract that quality talent, push them down the funnel to the storefront, to actually push them to get recruiters to actually interact with those prospects. So yes, it's all about getting new recruits. Exactly, Sergeant Major. I would 100%.
And you probably get a lot of information from new recruits when they come in about something you may be doing a little bit differently as far as recruiting. Is that correct? I mean, do you get feedback from the new recruits when they come in? Do they have a form they fill out and say, what motivated you to join the Army?
That's interesting, and that's something that would probably happen once they got to TRADOC and once they went through training. We're more so focused on, hey, we need to get you into the funnel to actually be that recruit. But that's probably a follow-on TRADOC action. I'm pretty sure that they do survey soldiers and new recruits to actually garner their experience through that funnel.
Yeah, when I grew up, the answer was you turned 18, they kicked you out of the house, and you either had to go in the military. So, hey, sir,
that was the answer from my mom too, Sergeant Major. She said, "You 18.
For sure, you got to go.
You got to go."
And the Army was a good life for me. The Army changed my life, and I think saved my life. Hey, sir, how important is research? I know this. How important is research when you're putting together a marketing plan that's trying to convince young people that join them? I mean, you got to do a lot of research to find out what motivates young adults to come into service.
Oh, absolutely, Sergeant Major. I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it is the backbone of our entire, marketing enterprise. It's so vitally important. It's embedded really in our very DNA here at the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. We aren't just communicating to the target audience, hoping our message resonates and just kind of blasting it out there. We are showing and encouraging young people to see themselves on our team. So if we're going to do that, it's very crucial that we understand who they are, where they are, how they consume media, what motivates them, what's going on in their environment, and what do they need and want in an employer. So for example, our research team has conducted many studies, qualitative and quantitative, to tell us, what our target audience is looking for in an employer. And what we have found that resonates largely with Generation Z is that they seek purpose, passion, community, and connection in an employer. And of course, the great news, right, is that the Army provides that in spades. So our messages seek to encourage and show them the proof of possibilities. And so that's one of the areas, right, that research is so vitally important. I think, two, it's important for folks to understand that our campaigns are just not us kind of sitting there thinking, hey, this would be a great thing, right? We really do need to be very true to our research and find out, what is the insight? What is that aha inspiration that we have where we can truly connect at an emotional and psychological level to our target audience? And figure out what kind of creative needs to go with that. And so again, that's a huge piece from our research side, and that goes into our creative development. And then third, we regularly check in using research for our brand health. How does our target audience view the Army? And we also test those campaigns and those messages that we send out to our audience to ensure that it resonates and that we're on the right track. So research, yes, it's very important to what we do as marketers and into our entire kind of genesis of what Army or what AEMO was made to do.
Yeah, one of the neat thing about joining the Army is the fact that the Army changes the lives of so many people. And I think sometimes we just don't get I'm sure you get the message out, be all you can be and all that other stuff. I think that sort of says it all. But if you go back, and every person that I've talked to on the show and just in my personal life, if you asked them, did you get anything out of the Army? And every time it's yes. And what did you get out of the Army? And they'll give you a line list. But the biggest thing you get out of the Army is it changes your life in the better. It gives you an education. Absolutely. It makes you, for me personally now, I went from 18 to 55 when I went to war. So I tell people all the time, I grew up in about a year. I was struggling there a little bit, but war made me jump in there. Hey, Sergeant Major, you got anything you want to add to that?
I would just say I'm going to go back to what Lieutenant Colonel Andersen said about it's not Sergeant Major's idea of what needs to go into an Army commercial. It's actually, we have to understand what will work before we actually move out and execute the things. And so we typically don't spend marketing money on things that we know that will not resonate with the audience, right? And so it's really it's tied all the way back to what Colonel Andersen said, which was research. And then on the back end, did what we put in market work? And so we're constantly kind of seeing ourselves and making sure we're refining and being more efficient in how we do that, because it's one big loop. So if you go all the way from research through data analytics, through strategy to execution, and then the loop comes back again. What are those lessons that we learned through that cycle to make that better and improve it? Does that make sense,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. One of the things I was thinking while you were talking, when I was in the Army, we changed this. So we're changing slogans every 3 or 4 years or something like that. But I remember I went down to the Secretary's office. We was talking about a slogan they was coming up with, and the person that was there was a senior officer, a non-commissioned officer. And I said, what do you think about this? Well, we don't like it. And I looked at him and I says, I don't care if you like it or not. It's about young adults. Do they like it? Right? And sometimes we get out of focus there a little bit. We don't like it personally, but does it resonate with a young adult, and do they understand? Because what I understand and what they understand or what they look at is two different things. Hey, this is a great discussion. We're going to have to take a small break, but we'll be back. And I want to talk about social media. I'm always interested in social media, how it plays in, strategy. And first, but like always, first we need to take a quick break. So you guys stay there. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. This is Your Next Mission video podcast with me, your host, Jack L. Tilley, 12th Sergeant Major Army. And if you're enjoying this discussion, I know that you are, because we're talking about changing the lives of people that go into the United States Army. It's a big difference. You can have a better life, and you can change your entire life and your family's life. So check it out. Look into it. I'm sure you want to do it. Please like us. Click on that subscribe button below. Be sure to click on the bell to receive notifications of all our upcoming video podcasts. I'll be right back after a word from our presenting sponsors.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, proudly presented by Navy Federal Credit Union, the most trusted credit union owned by members of the military community, serving all branches of the armed forces and their families. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Their members are the mission. And Purdue Global. You're ready for a comeback, and with Purdue Global, you can do more than take classes. You can take charge of your story, of your career, of your life. Earn a degree you can be proud of and get an education employers respect. Start your comeback at purdueglobal.edu. Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're talking with Lieutenant Colonel Andy Andersen, Chief of the Brand and Product Strategy, and CSM Faith Alexander, Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. Before we get back to our discussion, I want to let you know about a way to support the work we're doing on behalf of our veterans and families here at Your Next Mission. If you have a used vehicle you're planning to get rid of, or some property you don't have any plans for, you can donate it. Visit our website at AmericanFreedomFoundation.org/donate and click on the vehicle donation button or the home donation button to support our work. Please note that every penny your donation goes to support our veteran community. Sir, we're trying to reach Gen Z. I'm not even sure what Gen Z is, which I guess is roughly ages 18 to 28 or something like that. Exactly. And I guess I do too. They live on their phones and they're, immersed in social media. So how do we get them to reach out to them? How do we make contact with them, I guess?
Oh, absolutely, Sergeant Major. I mean, reaching Generation Z requires a strategy that is both engaging and authentic. Just like you said, they live in their phones, and they are most digitally savvy and discerning audiences out there. So they value content that's genuine, that's interactive, that's personalized. So our social media team really has their work cut out for them to craft approaches to meet those Gen Z audiences on the platforms where they are and speak to them basically towards their interests. So we use platforms like Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Snapchat, to share stories from real life soldiers, giving Gen Z kind of an inside look into the day-to-day life of a soldier and kind of other topics that interest them, so that they feel like that content is much more relatable to them and it's natural, so that when they're going through their feeds, it just kind of naturally flows in, and it's coming from a place of authenticity. And it's also being spoken into kind of what we talk about is our brand communication style, which is near peer, where they're hearing it from folks who are very similar to them in age and in life kind of experience level, so that it's not coming from a place too high where it's like, I can't even relate. So I think those are some of the keys to how we craft that.
Just to add to that, I remember when my grandkids were real small, I'd get them on the telephone and I'd talk to them, and they'd, how you doing? Oh, fine. What's going on? Nothing. And I couldn't really get them to talk to me. And so I asked my wife, I said, geez, what do I do? She said, text them. What? She said, text them. So I did. So I texted them, hey, how's it going? I mean, I got a whole page of stuff, so you got to figure out, my point is you got to figure out how to reach them, how to talk to them, and it's tough sometimes. So that's really good. You guys are doing some great work. Hey, Sergeant Major, This is a great question. Do you have different things, maybe use different languages depending on what social media platform you are? Do you do stuff like that? Use different languages and for different platforms, I guess?
Well, we have, even outside of social media, Sergeant Major, we have ways that we can tailor our asset to who we want, to the audience that we need to get it to. But on our social media platforms, kind of like what Colonel Andersen said, he said it in a fancy way. I'm not going to say it in a fancy way.
Me neither.
We pretty much tailor the social media on our social media platforms, mirroring what those social media platforms, how they actually communicate to reach the prospect, just like what Colonel Andersen said, to reach the audience where we need to reach them, and with the communication technique that we need to actually gain their interest. And so we absolutely do that. We mirror that. To not mirror that would not be a great idea if we're wanting to attract those eyeballs and fingers, right? To scroll. So exactly what Colonel Andersen said, but he said it in a fancier way than I would ever imagine saying it. But absolutely, to your question.
I usually have an interpreter that helps me out. Somebody say, hey, this is what I want to say. Hey.
I got to learn on my own, Sergeant Major. I don't have an interpreter, so I got to get the fancy.
First of all, I've been married for a long time. My wife is my interpreter. She said, this is what he meant.
Fair.
Hey, do you have many people that, in groups, I was talking about it a little while, do you have people from that age group on the campaign, since you know the kind of things that, their friends are looking for, or peers are looking for? Do you get groups of people together and talk to young adults like that and figure out, how do you communicate with them?
We actually have a couple of young folks in-house that actually match the same age range that we're actually trying to attract. She's one of them, she's also like our Spanish translator as well. And so, yeah, definitely want to get eyes on to, hey, how do you feel about this content? How do you feel about how this is actually being put on the platform? Is it attractive to you? So we definitely have in-house expertise in what attracts. But kind of like we said in the last thing, we have to know that the thing that we're doing will work before we do it. And so pre and post test to just make sure that what we're doing actually resonates, just like Colonel Andersen said. But we do have in-house expertise, and she is quick to tell us, Sergeant Major, that is not what the Generation Z wants, nor will it attract them.
And we also have, Sergeant Major, the team preps kind of, before going to an installation or wherever they're going to kind of capture that content. They obviously have a lot of things that they want to do that will be very interesting to our prospect audience. And the great thing, right, is that when you're talking to soldiers who are just right about that age, they're generating this content by just interviewing, and it's coming right out. So that helps a lot. And then, of course, we partner with fantastic marketing agency, and so they have obviously a lot of folks too with tons of experience, and also employ folks of that age group as well. So we just kind of get all of it to make sure that it comes out as authentic and real as possible, because that's what's true.
When I was, I got a million stories because I'm old, I guess. That's the reason. But when I was in Fort Knox on 194th, I remember we had a problem with people consuming too much alcohol and driving back from Louisville and stuff. So what I did was I got a group of young soldiers two from every unit. We had, 7 battalions and 3 separate companies. So I got 2 people from each unit, and got them together and said, hey, look, tell me what I could do to stop or prevent these kind of things from happening. And they told me what they wanted, what they needed. And I actually did it. We built a club for them and volleyball nets and did a bunch of stuff, but it cut down on the problems they have. So talking to young adults really makes a big difference, because why waste your money and time and not get the kind of things, or not get out of it that you want. Hey, sir, during our prep call recently, you said that marketing is more sophisticated now than it once was. Probably you're talking about me. Once was when I was in the Army. What do you mean by that? What do you mean that's more sophisticated now?
Well, Sergeant Major, I won't make you feel bad.
Well, you're making me feel bad now, so go ahead.
Exponentially more sophisticated since you, were in the service. But even just thinking 20, 25 years ago, especially as I was going through school and I was getting my undergrad in marketing, I mean, the things that we were talking about then that were cutting edge and best practices that some of them don't even exist anymore, and so when you think about that, it's laughable. So it's become much more data driven, much more complex as far as being in that digital sphere. And so our marketing organization has really built an impressive program, where we are on that leading edge and we are an industry standard, employing all those tools. And so I just wanted to give a few highlights here. So in comparison, 20 years ago, for data and analytics, marketers had very limited understanding of, consumer behavior in kind of real time. But today we have a lot of data about our target audience in real time, and we can understand their behavior, especially as they're going through goarmy.com and what are they interested in and what were they not interested in. And then we can also now dig into predictive analytics, which is the real cool piece where using AI and machine learning and a lot of our modeling, we can figure out, how would we best spend money, or how do we think things will perform. So that's a really cool piece that's cutting edge. I think number two is I think of digital advertising and programmatic buying, something that really was in its infancy 20 years ago. Well, now that's the standard, so now we have AI and very complex algorithms that automatically buy our ad space across various digital platforms in real time to our target audience. Essentially, when do they need to see that ad? And it's all done right before they're supposed to see that ad. I mean, that's just incredible. So it's real-time bidding, reaching the audience at the right time and the right place. And then I also think about our return on investment. When we're obviously using taxpayer funding, we need to be judicious stewards of government funds. And so, being able to actually attribute how much marketing is contributing to the mission and tying our return on investment, as well as being able to use the modeling that we have to figure out, okay, if I were to have an additional effort, what would be the impact to that? So I think those are just incredible things that has made marketing much more sophisticated, and being able to really tailor, our experience in a way where senior leaders can approve of what we're doing and feel like it's definitely contributing to the mission in a very meaningful way.
One of the things that really used to bother me when I was in the Army is that we'd get a good idea and we'd talk about it. I can't go up high enough. Talk about it. And then by the time it's outdated, we want to implement the program. But so you got to be a little quicker. You got to stay abreast of all this stuff with all the changes coming. The other thing is, I'm concerned about AI. I think AI is really cool, but every time I say something around Alexis or my phone or something like that, I said, I wouldn't mind buying a new fishing pole. All of a sudden it'll pop up on my phone. I'm concerned somebody's tapping my information. So anyway, that's a great discussion. When we come back, I want to talk about the plans for 2025. But first, there's always a but first with me. We got to take a quick break. Now, here's a word from two more of the organizations that help make this show possible.
You're watching Your Next Mission video podcast, brought to you in part by Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Dental, Blue Cross Blue Shield FEP Vision.
Part of transitioning out is that dental and vision insurance breaks off from your medical insurance.
Vision and dental is very important to be able to enjoy your retirement.
Blue Cross Blue Shield makes the transition so much easier.
And USAA.
A promise is a trust not to be broken, whether spoken with an oath or sealed with a pinky. And after 100 years, we're still taking care of the military community and their families. That's our mission, always.
Now back to your host, the 12th Sergeant Major of the Army, Jack L. Tilley.
Welcome back. We're blessed to be here today with Lieutenant Colonel Andy Andersen, Chief of Brand and Product Strategy, and CSM Faith Alexander, Senior Enlisted Advisor for the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. Remember, this is your show. We know that there's so many issues that directly affect you, and we want to address each and every one of them. So please, 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 I've said it many times, reach out to me. Tell me what topics you'd like us to cover. You can call or text me at 844-424-1134 or send me an email at smatilley@yournextmission.org. And guess what? I'll reach back out to you. Sir, we talked earlier about results this past year's marketing plan produced. So what's the marketing strategy for the upcoming years?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love to talk to you about it. A few highlights here. Just like Sergeant Major said, we are in the business of attracting quality talent for the Army. So we do that with our program to raise awareness of the possibilities of Army service. We create interest and educate our prospects, and we do that primarily through recruiter engagement. But we also have central to our program, GoArmy.com. We also have other campaigns such as Know Your Army that kind of help that education piece. And then we provide that natural transition to recruiters after they become a lead and hand them off so that they continue their journey to ultimately contract to the United States Army. For campaigns, we have some great things coming down the pipe for FY25. So right now, as we speak, we're working on getting ready for a production this December to add a spot to First Steps. First Steps launched in August of 24. And so this spot is going to be one that specifically talks to the adventure, the camaraderie, and the teamwork that is in our combat MOS field, such as infantry. So we're looking forward to highlighting that opportunity and spot for our audience. And we also have First Steps 3.0 that's going to be coming out probably around the summer of 25. And we'll be producing that over the summer. For media, we have for FY25, we've already begun. We have several high-profile partnerships, things such as Paramount, NBC Universal, Blavity, IGN, and of course, a lot of those provide custom content where we can provide reach and access to our target audience and get them in more engaging ways, including on-site activations, so that we're tied from a regional perspective as well as a national perspective, integrating that media plan. And then for research, we're really excited about two deliverables that are coming our way. We have been very interested in prospects' influencer networks. So those who are very close to our prospects, such as parents, teachers, coaches, and even veterans. And we're trying to ascertain where is it in their decision cycle when they're looking at the United States Army that we can craft strategies to help our influencers have the right information to encourage Army service and also inform them about the possibilities that can really propel their loved ones and folks that they're very interested in mentoring. So we're really excited about that research deliverable that's coming out so we can start doing the strategy crafting. And then two, also on what we call the expanded market. We were challenged in October of 23 by the Secretary and the Chief that by FY28, about 33% of our contracts need to have some form of college or more than a high school education. And so we could look at that a number of ways, such as vocational, trade school, maybe some college. And so that is a requirement for the Army of the future. And so we have an in-depth study kind of looking into, the same segment, roughly 19, 20 years old to 28, but in a different life stage, other than just high school and kind of that traditional bread and butter that we get for so many of our contracts. And as General Davis and the U.S. Sergeant Major have said before, we're getting a higher contract age now. I think it's around 21, 22. So this research is very much so needed so we can start tailoring those messages more appropriately to those audiences.
Yeah. Do you talk with recruiters a lot? I'm just curious for myself. Do you talk to recruiters a lot about what works for them and what doesn't work for them as far as marketing or ever?
I would say I think we have frequent touch points with recruiters, and I think what works and what doesn't work will really depend on where that recruiter is. And so that's why it's really important with our regional marketing directorate. They actually massage that for us, and they kind of put those things into that marketing plan to actually get after how those individuals in that particular area prospect. And then what are some of the things we need to know about that area? Because a recruiter in Detroit is not going to prospect the same or market the same way that a recruiter in Texas will. And so I would say, as we kind of have come together in this transformation, that synchronization has become a little tighter, with the anticipation that it'll only get better with more frequent touch points that I do see coming in the future anyway. So to answer your question, Sergeant Major, I hope I did.
No, you did. I was just curious about that. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Hey, Sergeant Major, you shared on our prep call that you had some new things to share about the data world. Could you elaborate on that a little bit?
So we talked a little bit, Sergeant Major, about data and analytics and how it really kind of drives the train on, hey, what we're doing to make sure that it's data informed and that we're being a good custodian of taxpayers' dollars. Two big things that are recent developments. So our data and analytics team has kind of crafted a dashboard for recruiters, not only for recruiters, but really for those leaders of the recruiters, so they can see actually where those leads are more propensed, so they can shift the focus of the recruiter to focus on those more propense leads that are more likely to convert into a contract. So that is like looking at those, those leads, and to figure out what these are better leads. You need to focus on these leads, recruiters. That's a big thing. And we've seen some real wins with that. Also, the shift over to actually have recruiters actually go after those leads that we know that will convert well. So it takes a change in how we're operating. You're talking about how recruiters operate, right? So if I can tell you, if this lead is going to convert, I need you to focus your energy and time on that particular lead. The second thing that we've done, Sergeant Major, is we've actually updated our EMM. And EMM is the system that recruiters go into to kind of look at leads. What we've done is we've added a notification to those recruiters to say, hey, look, you don't have to look for this lead. This lead that's most propense is just going to pop up on that app, to where I want you to focus your energy and time on that. And so I think that's going to be a win. It's going to take a little bit of time to see how that matures. But those are two really big things in the last, I would say, 3 to 4 months that we've actually come up with and have shared with the headquarters to actually operationalize that completely. Does that make sense,
Absolutely, absolutely. It probably made more sense than I'm aware of. No, that's perfect sense. Hey, I got one last question there before we wrap this up a little bit. How are you using the veteran community to help you? I mean, there's a lot of veterans out there. Are you reaching out to the veteran community to try to help you a little bit with recruitment?
Well, one thing that I know, and I won't speak for ASOP, right? But ASOP is a strategic, the outreach office, and they were with ASA, MNRA, but they're nested in a different way. And so one of the things that they are actually looking at is how to put together something that will will garner that veteran experience and knowledge, and how to kind of expand that to see if first test it and then try to expand to see if it works holistically. So I know they're in the beginning stages of that. I think they have to come back to Major General Davis and General Gant to figure out, did it work, and so we can see what the possibilities are.
Yeah, one of the things I've always said is that you got a large veteran group out there, and they want to do all they can to help you, so reach out to them, and they'll certainly assist you any way they can. The other thing is that, and this is a pride, when I got out, I always thought everybody knows about the Army, or whatever service you're, but out the Army, when I got around in middle America and I talked to, not many people know much about the military, not as much as you'd think they would. And so it's interesting to me. But anyway, you guys are doing a great job. Keep up the good work. And this has been a wonderful discussion. And thank you so much for what you're doing for our Army, and quite frankly, our country too. So I appreciate all you guys doing. Any last minute thoughts? And Sergeant Major, we'll start. Any last minute thoughts? Anything you want to share with the audience? Sergeant Major, we'll start with you. We'll make the officer go last. We'll start with you first. Go ahead.
No, I would just like to, assure, everyone out there that we are doing the most in the best possible ways that we can to actually do what the nation has asked us to do. And I have only seen in the last 2 years that we've gotten better at that. We want to continue on that glide path. We want to continue to operationalize, our organizations to be able to meet that mission. And I think we're only going to see improvements to that, Sergeant Major. So we're out the gate, and the horse is out the gate, Sergeant Major. We're not going back behind the gate. We're out, and we want to stay. We want to keep that momentum going, because, as you know, it's a priority for our senior leaders. It's a priority for our nation. It's definitely a priority for us.
Good. Sir, how about yourself? Any last minute thoughts?
Yeah, just piling.
You can't
on,
say
Sergeant
ditto.
Major.
You can't say ditto. No, you got to say something now. Go ahead.
No, yeah. But, one of the great things, too, about AEMO is that we aren't just responsible for the active duty enlisted mission as well. There's kind of a probably not as much press and not as much attention because we're obviously very concerned about, meeting our mission and making sure we can, get that straight for our Army. But we are the category manager for marketing and the steward for the brand, the Army brand, as the Army Enterprise Marketing Office. So we have other campaigns and other activities that we do for the many other ways to serve, such as the Army Reserve, the Guard, Department of the Army Civilian, as well as Special Forces. And so and officer. So when you look at all of those ways to serve, or what we kind of call product lines in marketing, we're doing a lot of great things for the Army. So I would definitely be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that we launched for the very first time last year, the Department of the Army Civilian's first campaign. Incredible is called Find Your Next Level. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out on Google. And then 2, for Army Reserve, not only did we refresh the brand for the Army and also our marketing ecosystems, we did the same thing for the United States Army Reserve. So they've got a great new logo and an entire campaign called It's Your Time. So when you look at just the breadth of work that the Army Enterprise Marketing Office is doing for our total Army, it's just incredible. So I would definitely be remiss if I didn't mention
Right.
that.
I mean, I like that. It's your time. I'm going to wait for a while, but no, I love that. Sounds good. Hey, I know you guys are really busy. I just want to thank you for coming on the show. You did a great job and great information. And again, thank you for what you're doing and you continue to do, not just for the Army, but really for our country. So thanks a lot for coming on the show.
Thank you,
Sergeant Major.
Thanks again to Lieutenant Colonel Andy Andersen and CSM Faith Alexander for being with us today. It was just great having them. You can see it was great. I had a great time when I'm on the show. I'm Jack Tilley, Trust Sergeant Major of the Army. You've been enjoying Your Next Mission video podcast. And thank you for joining us. Log on to our website at yournextmission.org and leave me a review. I'll get a good one for this one. While you're there, you can visit our nonprofit and corporate partners who have jobs and services available that can assist you in your transition from the military. And check out our job board in partnership with Recruit Military and Upline, where you can create your own personal profile that will match you when you just the right job in real time. You can follow me on my personal social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Rumble. And if you like what we're doing with Your Next Mission, please click on our subscribe button below. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications about our upcoming video podcasts. Don't forget, we want to hear from you. Please leave me a message or send me a text at 844-424-1134 or send me an email at SMA Tilley at yournextmission.org. Thanks again to Lieutenant Colonel Andersen and Sergeant Major Alexander for being from the Army Marketing Enterprise Office for being on the show today. And I tell you, the Army changed my life. It made me who I am today. And it changed, I was telling a minute ago, and I talked to somebody that served in the military and asked what happened in the Army to you, what did the Army do for you? It changed my life. It made me a better person. It made me who I am today. It made me grow up. It gave me an education. It did all the positive things that you need in your life. So if you're listening to this show, or you're a parent listening to this show, and your kids are sitting around, maybe they aren't doing nothing, they ought to take a hard look at the Army, the military, because I guarantee you I don't know if I can guarantee you anything, but I think I guarantee you that it'll change your life and make you a better person, because it is about protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. It's about our lovely country that we enjoy every day. So God bless you, and thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching, and thanks to Newmont students, and of course, our sponsors, Navy Federal Credit Union, Purdue Global, Blue Cross Blue Shield, FEP Dental, and Blue Cross Blue Shield, FEP Vision, and USAA. We appreciate all you do for our military. And as always, see you on the high ground. Hooah!
You've been listening to Your Next Mission, brought to you by the American Freedom Foundation. Learn more by visiting yournextmission.org.